Hey everybody, Alex from SeemsGoodMagic.com here. We're going to be doing 3 more league matches today. So since I'm just 1 match into this league, I'm going to be unable to change anything in the deck for the next 4 matches. But after that, I plan on trying some swaps here. I think we're going to swap out Arc Lightning for another Radiant Flames. It just makes sense. Radiant Flames is very cheap too. It's only a quarter, so there's really no reason that I shouldn't just have 2 of them. Unless Arc Lightning was really important right now, and I don't think it is. So we'll get another Radiant Flames in here. I think 2 is kind of the magic number since Radiant Flames tends to, blow up our board as well. Another change I'm going to do, I'm going to swap Dig Through Time for Outpost Siege. This was suggested a while ago, but I didn't like it when it was suggested because at that time I was main decking Disdainful Strokes and Negates, and I didn't think Outpost Siege would be very good if you exile the top card of your library and it's a counter spell on your turn. I don't like that. But now that I'm not main decking any counter spells, I think that Outpost Siege would actually be just a very good addition to this deck. With all of these guys that bring in more guys, I think Outpost Siege would just be really good. So, and they're about a ticket and a half, so they're, I guess, one of the priciest cards in this deck after Hangerback Walker. I guess the most expensive card in this deck after Hangerback Walker, which isn't saying that much since this deck is still very cheap. But okay, so that's just wanted to update you on what I'm probably going to do to this deck in after 4 matches. So, all right, let's jump into some league matches for the day. Okay, match 1. Yeah, that's a mulligan. Gonna need some more lands. This hand is very good. We'll keep this one. Let's bottom that. I think we're looking for better action. We don't need a second Ghostfire Blade. I don't think that's necessary. I'd rather draw like a Whirler Rogue or another mountain, I guess. Something like that. Flooded Strand. All right. Not exactly sure what we're up against just yet. Sky Spawner's a great draw. So then the question is going to become, do I want to play Sky Spawner and pump Hangerback? I think that's probably fine. Ooh, Eldrazi matchup. Okay. Or not. Wasn't expecting a foil Jace, no less. Jeez. How much does that cost? 100 tickets? Probably not that much, but can't be that far off. So we don't have a burn spell. Let's just go Sky Spawner. And we'll pass. We're going to pump Hangerback. So green-blue, but maybe not Eldrazi? That would be interesting. Guess there's still a chance, but I've never seen Jace run in that deck before. Our opponent's deck is very expensive so far. I have a feeling every card is... Oh, I was just going to say, I have a feeling every card is foil, but that's just simply not the case. Still, my opponent is probably really disappointed that they don't have... Oh, it's a rally deck. Okay. So counter spells are going to be key in this matchup. Whoa, what's going on? That was weird. I've never seen that glitch before. Ooh, alright. Not quite at Pia and Akirin just yet, but this'll do. No need to re-equip the Ghostfire Blade. So Counterspell Package is almost assuredly coming in. And what do we take out for the rally deck? Because I still like Ghostfire Blade. I usually just take out Ghostfire Blade most of the time. I don't know why, too. I love the card. Like, there's just so many instances where it's great. There's really not a ton of instances where it's bad. All right, opponent's going to turn Mr. Jace on here. Probably just make our Sky Spawner slightly smaller. Opponent's deck is... Let's see. Opponent's shown us 11 cards and probably has already shown us about 40... $110 probably or something. I'm guessing. I just guessed on Jace, foil Jace's value because I know regular Jace is about 60. So I imagine foil Jace is like 80 to 100 or something like that. Something crazy like that. All right, it's definitely 4-color rally deck or 5-color. Depending. As expected, makes that smaller. Cutthroat, sure. And another Jace. No problem. 3 cards left in our opponent's hand. I think we're just going to go for our opponent. Makes more sense to me. Ooh, Whirler Rogue. That's interesting. Let's play Foundry. So, I mean, I could play Whirler Rogue. Not sure if I want to. Or Pia and Kiran Alar. If I do Pia and Kiran Alar, I can toss Hanger back next turn for 4. Get 4 flyers. It's pretty good. Could also just play Whirler Rogue and hit my opponent for 5 here. That's also good. But then I can't pump my Hanger Backwalker. It's probably fine, though. I'm just going to do it. Let's get some damage in here. I think if our opponent's going to have some difficulties, it's going to be with keeping up with the beats. So we're going to go after him, not Jace. I guess we can re-equip to a Thopter. Just keeps his Catacomb Sifter at bay. It's a lot of fetches. Loses Jace, but now can plus again. Which I don't think matters. Yeah, that's pretty irrelevant. Almost think opponent should have attacked there. Ghost Fire Blade number 2. Now are we in lethal mode? I feel like we've got to be close here, right? So, let's say I play Ghost Fire Blade, equip Ghost Fire Blade. That's 5, 7, 8 damage. Yeah, but opponent can sack Scion. I think we'll just force them to do that. Seems correct to me. Can't get any more damage in, right? I don't think so. Let's play the blade. Equip the blade, I guess, to Sky Spawner. Does it matter? Doesn't really matter. Dealing 8 either way. So opponent's got a sack Scion. Doesn't get to draw a card either, which is kind of nice. So got a sack Scion to go to 1. Or, yeah. So it gets to scry. Doesn't get to draw. Rally's not good enough. Collected Company is likely not good enough either. I'm not even sure I want to re-equip. I don't think I do. To the hanger back? Probably not necessary. Well, it's got to have something pretty sexy here to get out of this. Alright, that's not good enough. Can't even crack the Flooded Strand. That's good. I mean, at this point, opponent's best off just attacking. They need to gain life, but even if they do, it doesn't matter. Alright, let's just swing for the fences here. Yeah, sure. Why not? Alright. So, playing against Rally. Let's get our little combo breakers out of here. So, what do we want? I probably don't even want Roast. I don't want to be super interactive with my opponent's board. I'd rather just run the 1-mana burns if I'm going to run burn, which I think is fine. I also don't want to wipe the board typically, I think, because let's just bring in our combo breakers, the negates and the dispels, because Collected Company and Rally the Ancestors are really all we super care about. Dig Through Times are probably still good. Hangerbacks are still pretty good too. Tough to deny them. But when you're bringing in a bunch of cheap counters, I feel like Dig Through Time is probably still good. How good is Ghost Fireblade? I mean, certainly good there. No doubt. No doubt. Maybe, actually, Aggregate's probably worse. That makes sense. I don't want... I mean, they're awesome with Whirler Rogue, but I'd rather just fly over top. It's not like my opponent's got a lot of stuff to do with flyers, right? I can't imagine. Let's take out an Aggregate. Maybe 2 Aggregates. Take out 1 Blade and bring in an Impulse. The Radiant Flames, even though it does board wipe, is almost kind of good against my opponent. I'd rather just have 1 more piece of spot removal for Jace. Jace and like Zulaport are the only ones I really care about killing. And as long as I can keep them off combo pieces, I think we're good. Alright, let's try this. And yeah, I pretty much just dropped Aggregate because it's a ground unit. My opponent's deck tends to block fairly well. I think we gotta keep this. It's kind of an awkward hand with 3 tap lands, but I think it's actually worth keeping. All right. Opponent finds Island. If a Jace is played, I wouldn't mind drawing a burn spell. Oof. That is not quite a burn spell. Opponent's going to have a turn 4 Jace. It's pretty impressive. Turn 4 Planeswalker Jace, I mean. Sifter. All right. Opponent's off to a pretty good start. Island. Well, no, we're going to go Cliff's Hanger back because I want to go Pia and Kieran Nalaar next turn. The first of many. Could also go Sky Spawn or Pump Hanger back, but I think we're going to have to be patient on that one. Although, actually, I could play... That might actually be better. I can go Thopter Engineer, then Pia and Kieran Nalaar, and then I can actually attack right away. So I can go Thopter Engineer, Pump, Pia and Kieran Nalaar, attack for 3. That actually is sounding like a slightly more appealing option now. Wouldn't mind drawing a counterspell. But opponent, if they have Collected Company, I imagine is just going to cast it now. There's the sack outlet for the Cutthroats, which makes sense. Could have actually attacked with the Scion too, which might have actually been a better idea for my opponent, but I'm certainly not upset that they didn't. All right, let's go Thopter Engineer. And we're just going to keep attacking our opponent. I don't like attacking Jace here. Okay. Looking okay. 3P and Kirinar is pretty awkward. Opponent's just scrying like crazy. Let's see what they do. Put a card on top. All right, well, looks like opponent already found what they were looking for. All right, Husk. Sure. So I could get a couple counters out of the hanger back, but I think we're just going to block the... Oh, I guess I could double block. No, I don't think so. I think we just block a Sifter. Then I pump my hanger back. I'd rather use hanger back with Pia and Kieran, I believe. Wouldn't mind drawing a land here too, so I could still pump my hanger back. But if I don't, so be it. All right, did get the land, very nice. So let's go big man, Pia and Kieran. I guess it's not big man, big couple. Pia and Kieran. So next turn is a potentially huge turn for us if everything goes our way, because we're going to get to pump hanger back, throw it at our opponent's face, then attack with just a metric ton of Thopter tokens. So that's pretty awesome. Still going in at my opponent. I think we're just better off trying to kill him and not really worrying about Jace at the moment. I imagine my opponent put a Zulaport Cutthroat on top, but it could have also been a Collected Company. Either or. So 3 mana to Murderous Cut P and Kieran Alar. The funny thing about that is 2 more in my hand. So let's see what our opponent scries this time. It's got to still be on top, right? Yeah. No, bottom this time. Wait, didn't my opponent top before? Or did they see the card already? Bottom 2. Okay. Interesting. Guess we... Well, I was going to pump hanger back in response. My thinking on that was... Well, Yeah, I'm going to do it. My opponent wants to murderous cut a Thopter Engineer. I'm going to be okay with that. I want to get potentially full value out of this hanger back, I think. Guess technically I can also kill Jace now. So he can kill the Thopter Engineer. I don't think that matters. My opponent can attack for 6. Yeah, we're just going to take 6. This still absolutely feels like a winnable race. In fact, yeah, and in fact that kind of makes sense too. Leaving the Sifter back to block my hanger back, yeah. Alright, I guess technically I can kill Jace now. It's not bad. Let's go Pia and Kieran. Number 2. 1 card left in my opponent's hand. Yeah, I think I am better off. I guess I should have actually played... I didn't think about that. I should have actually played Sky Spawner, because then I could have played Sky Spawner plus P and Kieran at the cost of my thing. I guess we can kill Jace. Just cause. So we're dealing less damage to our opponent, but I think ultimately this is going to be fine. Just a one-shot on Jace feels pretty adequate. I mean, opponent, if they want to draw... Basically, my opponent needs to play a Zulaport Cutthroat, sack everything, and then rally. But then they can't. They don't have enough mana to do all that. I have enough mana to kill my opponent next turn, too. So my opponent's got to do something pretty spicy here. And we can officially block with Hangerback Walker now too, which is nice. No attacks. Now that is interesting. So let's go land. We're going to swing. I imagine my opponent's playing Collected Company here. Okay. As expected. I think I'm just going to pump this now. We'll let this stuff come out. Is my opponent exploiting? Is exploiting, okay. Wait, all my opponent got was Sidisi's Faithful? Jeez. Alright. So I guess we launch that at our opponent. All right. I guess we pass. So, I may just want to kill Grim Haruspex. If my opponent does something that's a problem, I guess. Because my opponent's very dead next turn. Because I'm just going to be launching this hanger back at them. Or whatever. And having 8 dudes. Alright, I'm assuming opponent is just digging. There's no reason to throw at Grim Haruspex yet, I don't think. Because in response, my opponent can just do it a bunch anyway. Plus rally for 3, which I don't think is good enough, especially since they can't attack. And my opponent only gets to keep 1 Jace. So opponent's tapped out. Can only attack with Husk. He's trying to bounce Pia and Kieran, so let's just launch some damage at my opponent. It's really just nothing I can think of that gets my opponent out of this, especially since they're tapped out. I think we managed to just crush a rally deck with no counters, which is pretty interesting. They also saw no Zulaport Cutthroats this game, which would have made a world of difference for them. I mean, their best hope is attacking with their Nantuko and hoping I don't block. Which, as you might imagine, is not going to happen. Not sure what my opponent can hope to do here. I guess they do have 2 Scions. So what could my opponent cast for 1 mana? My opponent would have to go Swamp, Zulaport, and even with Swamp, Zulaport, I don't think it's good enough. Okay, so it does have the Zulaport. Still not good enough. My opponent can gain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 life, going to 8, which is not good enough. So opponent goes hog wild, sacking stuff. And then dies to Ghostfire Blade by my count, right? 1, 3, 4 life, 5 life, 6 life, 7 life, 8 life. Not good enough. Dispel. Unless I did my math wrong. Pretty sure we're alive. And even if, or pretty sure my opponent's dead, rather. But even if my opponent's not dead, I just play P and Kirinalar and leave up Dispel. Guess I can pause this for you folks, since I can't imagine this is a ton of fun to watch. Alright, opponent decided not to go through all of the meaningless motions, thankfully, and we got the match. Alright, beat the rally deck. Very cool. Very enjoyable to beat the combo deck, especially one that has as much money as this deck does in it, because that is just absurd. Foil Collected Company, foil multiple, foil Jaces, foil Flooded Strand, just decked out, foiled out combo deck. Beaten. Very satisfying. Alright. We'll see you in the second match.